Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm gonna be giving you what if Naruto was personally trained by Kurama after leaving the village, part 7. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto had a new training trip partner that will change everything. And enjoy that, guys. Remember, if you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Making family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying talking about to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, what do you say begin this new episode? Start the intro. So the last time we left off, Naruto woke up after his body had given into fatigue. As he looked around the room to see Gaara awake, as Gaara asked him how he was feeling. His head hurt a bit but he was fine as he looked over towards Teiwaya, as Gaara relayed him what happened once he passed out. As Kakashi then arrived in the room, as he told him about the curse mark, that he couldn't completely get it off. Teiwaya had saved the Uchiha and ended up getting the mark instead. But as long as she don't tap into the power, it should be fine. And they should ask Anko about it because she knew more than them. The group wonder what? The second proctor of the exam had to know about the mark. As Naruto promised Teiwaya that they will get it off no matter what, as she felt comfort in his words. So with that out of the way, they made their way towards the preliminary exams as everyone gathered there. The matches started as Naruto chose to ignore most of them, seeing that most of them never caught his interest as he went to talk with the Kyuubi. But she had no idea how to remove the Fuinjutsu mark, as Teiwaya was a bit disappointed at that. Teiwaya went down there to face off against Lee, but she just wasn't able to defeat him as she lost. But it didn't matter, the Chunin exams will be coming up in the stand in a couple of months, as they came around every 6 months so she can be promoted then. As Naruto had made his way down and faced off against the third member of Hinata's team, a boy named Hibiki, as he was able to vibrate his body to a frequency. But Naruto quickly outplayed that as he studied his moves. It was easy to use a clone to just knock him out once he was distracted, as Naruto still haven't showed anything that were really valuable. Gaara ended up passing as well, quickly defeating his opponent. So with that, they made it towards the final round. Kankuro Temari and their other teammate wasn't able to get here, as they never made it through the forest, but they decided to stick around to Konoha to make sure that they cheered them on, which Naruto and the group was happy for. As Naruto will be the first match in the finals, he will be facing off against Neji. So with that out of the way, they got a month to train and learn different moves. As Christmas fall in Konoha, as Naruto made his way around giving everyone that was precious to him gifts, as he also thanks Tsume and Kiba, as he thanked Tsume for letting him stay there as he got all of them gifts including Nana, as he made his way and he got Kankuro and Temari gift as well, and he also made his way to find Gaara as he gave Gaara gold dust. It was a present he got him before his father had passed away, but no, he didn't know how the present would make Gaara feel, but Gaara loved it. As Naruto made his way to find Teiwaya, as he got her a pouch, a new pouch to put her flute in, and also a wonderful hat that suited her well. The flute that she had was the first gift that Naruto ever gave her, so she wouldn't want a replacement one or anything, she treasured it the most. As she didn't have anything for him, but he told her that it was fine, that was not the reason for gift giving. But she did give him something as she kissed him right on the lips, before jumping off the monument, as Naruto stood there surprised. So yeah guys, so basically that's what I thought. You guys can switch across the place and check it out for yourself. So what do you say begin this new episode? Teiwaya was up early. Why was she up early anyway? After all, everyone knew that she liked to sleep in. And it wasn't a pleasant mood around her whenever she woke up early. But everything come back to that knuckle, blonde-headed brat, she thought to herself. Ever since that kiss on the monument, she's been unable to look at him without her cheeks becoming red, like she was trying to impersonate a tomato. So she was breaking her own rule of sleeping in, so she can beat him before he woke up before her, and do absolutely nothing. So now she was walking around the village, looking for anything that might catch her attention with her head hanging low. and trying to take her mind off the blonde, Keiichi Julike. That was how she found herself standing in front of Ichiro Ramen, staring up at the sign for a good 2 minutes before the woman working behind it noticed her. Hello? Can I help you? Teiwai looked around as she saw the brunette, as she gave a weak smile as she ducked under the flaps and sat down on a stool. Hi. It was a start, she guessed. Normally, she wasn't good at talking to strangers without some venom in her tone, but this kindly girl smiling at her sucked all venom from her tone, and she did not know why. Long brown hair tied up, and a white apron over her clothing. There was nothing special. Her eyes also spoke of innocence and kindness, like she hasn't went through too much hardship in her life. Even though there was something about her that told understanding and compassion. For someone used to the more darker side of bandits that would stab you in the back, it was unnerving to the aware. Could I get you anything? The girl asked, her voice sweet and soft. Well, what have you got? She added a curse word. But to her surprise, the waitress didn't even flinch from the language. She just maintained that warm smile on her face. I will recommend the mixed ramen. It's our special. Teiwai just nodded as she sent the order back into the back where the chef was. So I noticed you aren't eating the diet ramen. The voice didn't come from the waitress. It came from behind Teiwai. As she turned, as she wondered who had the balls, or lack thereof, to judge her. Judging from the voice. As she saw the same blonde girl from the preliminaries. Yeah? And what of it, Twiggy? That was the first nickname that came to Teiwai's mind, so she called her that. For a kunoichi, she was surprisingly thin. She seemed to take that as a compliment, as she sat down with a smug smile on her face. The stool next to Teiwai. Aren't you watching your figure? She asked. Teiwai narrowed her eyes. That was a strange comment from a ninja. Figure? What the hell are you talking about? I train every day for at least 4 hours. Why the hell would I have to watch what I eat? But, isn't there a boy you like? The blonde asked. Teiwai looked at the girl. She was getting pissed off at this. Who the hell did she think she is? And why should she care about this crap? What the hell does boys have to do with anything? The girl, eyes went wide. Like, Teiwai was speaking blasphemy. Are you saying that there's no boys that you like? As Teiwai wanted to escape right now, these questions were getting on her nerves, but they were also getting embarrassing. Of course she knew what the other girl meant by saying like, but she thought if she played innocent, probably that will get the blonde girl to leave her alone. Of course, my 2 best friends are guys, said Teiwai. The blonde girl looked her over. Well, that explained your appearance. That was the final straw, as Teiwai was about to rearrange her face, but the waitress came back with the ramen. She decided it would be better for everyone, herself included, if she just ignored the blonde girl's question. I'm Ino, by the way. What's your name? Asked Ino. Teiwai just grunted between mouthfuls, hoping that she would get the message and leave, but no such luck. So how are the guys in the sand village? I bet they're really tan, aren't they? Teiwai simply narrowed her eyes, as she did not turn to face the girl though. You know, it's very rude not to answer when someone is talking to you. Haha, said Teiwai. As Ino looked like she was about to leave, but she smiled. Well, if there isn't any boy that you like, allow me to introduce you to the one and only guy that you would like. Teiwai slooped up her ramen as she raised the eyebrow, as she was dragged out of the ramen stand. As she had to pull and chuck the money at the surprised waitress before she was pulled away. Now that she had her bearings, she pulled her arm away from Ino. It didn't take much effort because Ino wasn't physically strong at all. What the hell are you doing? Ino simply smiled innocently, her mind looking like it was somewhere else. Come on, I'm gonna take you to Sasuke, said Ino. I don't give a crap about Sasuke. I just want to go train. As Ino didn't seem to register that. Yeah, he's mostly over the training grounds. He's so committed as a shinobi. She should probably hit the training grounds with a weak ass grip that she had Teiwai, I thought. As she looked at the girl, she was going to go to the training grounds anyway, so she just went along with it. But she wasn't about to be dragged as she ripped her arm away and walked at a normal pace. Ino was confused why she wasn't ecstatic to meet Sasuke. Well, she will be ecstatic once she sees him. At least she was following her though, as she made her way. So what about your friends? Teiwai simply looked at Ino like to say, what about them? As Ino came closer, what are they like? Teiwai just looked at her. As Ino shrugged, that blonde kid was really cute. Nothing on Sasuke though, but I guess you have to take what you can get. Teiwai felt something rising within her stomach, as she heard this blonde girl talk about Naruto in that way, and to hear her comparing him to some other guy. She ignored every other question Ino asked her, but Ino didn't seem to care. She just liked to hear her own voice, it seems. They eventually reached a proper training ground with three training posts in the ground. There he is. Isn't he dreaming? Said Ino. Teiwai was rather annoyed that Ino interrupted her thought as she turned her head, as she saw the same black-haired kid that defeated Kiba in the preliminaries, as he was currently in a heated spar with his sensei, the same one that sealed her curse mark. Even thinking about it, her hand went up and rubbed it. What? The kid with the duck asked for a haircut. Ino turned instantly, completely appalled by how Teiwai described the boy that she had a crush on. What are you talking about? Sasuke here doesn't look like a duck's, that. Teiwai grinned. She was glad that she was finally the one annoying her. Oh sure, you just need the right angle, as she went behind Ino and focused her hands like a camera. There's a feather, and as she tilted her hand a bit, and there's the ass. Ino wiggled out of her stronghold because she saw exactly what Teiwai meant. Well, that Naruto guy's here looked like, Teiwai raised her eyebrow. Why would Ino think that she cared if Naruto here looked like anything? For that sake, she thought, why did Ino really care that she didn't like Sasuke's hair? Shouldn't that be a good thing, that another girl was not trying to go after him? When Ino couldn't come up with anything because she was actually admiring Naruto's shaggy hair in the preliminaries, she slumped down. What's so great about this Sasuke guy anyway? Ino looked like she was about to spurt off an entire list, but Teiwai raised her arm. You know what? I don't really give a flying crap, so I don't know why I asked. As Ino still looked like she wanted to protest, but before anything would happen, there was a loud crash from further within the forest. It was loud enough for Kakashi and Sasuke to stop sparring, as Sasuke finally noticed the two newcomers at the edge of the training field. As he sighed, he was used to Ino come and watch him train. As he looked at the redhead, she must be a new fangirl because he's never seen her. He focused. As he didn't remember her now, she was the one that was defeated by Lee at the preliminaries. He saw what she was trying to do. She was trying to test out her opponent first, before falling into her taijutsu style. But it was rather unfortunate that she was facing Rock Lee, that only knew taijutsu. Otherwise, the tactic might have worked on someone else. So he did not know her skill level or her abilities, because she never showed what she had, and he really did not like not knowing things. So he ignored the crash that just went off as he made his way towards them. You're not another fangirl, are you? He said. As Teiwai looked at him, you wish, duck boy. As he seemed confused by the name. As he saw Ino giggling. She saw Sasuke looking at her, she turned towards Teiwai, trying to act annoyed by Teiwai now. As Kakashi appeared in front of them. You should be nicer, Sasuke. This was the girl that saved you in the forest of death. As Ino looked at Teiwai, surprised. Sasuke looked at her neck, the seal that could have been on his if she had to intervene. Thanks then, he said. Ino got more jealous as she couldn't believe it. Teiwai seemed to shrug as she walked off. Hey, where are you going? Asked Ino, but Teiwai simply ignored her as she made her way towards where she heard a loud explosion. As Sasuke went back to his training, Ino looked at her crush as she knew that Sasuke wouldn't give her the time of day now that he's wrapped up with his training, and even after that he would not. So she went after the new girl that was immune to Sasuke's appearance. Hey, where are you going? We could have watched Sasuke train for a while, said Ino. Teiwai looked at her, disbelieving. She thought the girl was stupid, but this was just beyond. I'm a ninja. Why the hell would I do that when I could just train my goddamn self? Thankful, Ino went quiet for a while, thinking about the answer. As Teiwai saw the clearing up ahead, as she ran forward as Ino ran behind her. Alright, come at me with everything you got. As Teiwai paused. As she really hoped that he didn't saw her. As it was Naruto, as he was currently taking on 3 of each other clones. She tried to walk away, but Ino caught up to her and poked her head to see what was making Teiwai so uncomfortable. As Naruto was standing on top of the river, as he took off his jacket, he was just wearing a black muscle shirt that stuck to his body and his pants with 3 clones in front of him. And he also removed his headband as he placed on his jacket, as his hair was flapping all around, giving him a disadvantage as he faced off against his clones. As Ino couldn't help but blush, as the water was splashing up and sticking to him, making his shirt, well, his muscles underneath show. And every time he defeated a clone, he just created another. Despite it being 3 of them, he was taking them on with not much ease. Ino got captivated by his eyes, as they had a steely edge to them as he faced off against his clones, and they were just so amazing. She then saw whisker marks on his cheeks. That was strange, but they were cute. In a way, they made him unique. After all, she never ever saw anyone else with whisker marks. As she turned to see Taewai start to sneak away. Hey, your teammate. Shh, Taewai said. Shut up. He's gonna hear us. He's got good hearing like a goddamn bat. Ino simply smirked. As she wasn't done with the conversation, Taewai sighed. The last thing she wanted right now was to have an awkward conversation with Naruto in front of this girl. He's cute. You have to tell me about him. Taewai simply walked off, but Ino rushed after her. Meanwhile, it was strange. He was in the middle of training when he picked up Taewai's scent and another unknown person. As he got distracted, one of his clones knocked him back into the water. He quickly rejoined the fight, but by that time, her scent had gone. It was probably the forest playing tricks on his senses. Despite everything, Naruto's thoughts were elsewhere. And surprisingly, they weren't on Taewai, despite her being on his thoughts for the past few days. He felt like she was really avoiding him recently, and every time he tried to talk to her, she would rush off, saying that she had training to do. He would grumble about it, but in truth, he had a lot of training to do for his student exam finals. That was what was occupying his thoughts at the moment as he dodged attack from Clone A, as he grabbed Clone B leg and swing in towards Clone C. As right now he was doing physical exercising, but he will have to focus on more specific training later. The main area of concern was Neji, Gentlefield style fighting. He knew only one person could help him with that. With that sigh, he displayed his clones as he gathered up his headband and his gear. He kept it off because if he left it on for too long, it became a bit sweaty. As he made his way, sticking to the alleys, despite knowing that he was in no threat or danger, it was just instinct of back then. And besides, he could more than protect himself now. As he found himself in front of the Hyuga gates, as he smiled to himself that he still remembered where it was, as he really hoped the Hyugas did not remember. The original prank was to spread their laundries all over the village. No real harm done, but some pervert that took some of the female, well, more indecent items. As Naruto knocked on the vast gate, a tall man opened it, with the eyes that marked him a Hyuga. Yes, the man said. Naruto scratched his head. He had hoped for more time to come up with that elegant way of telling why he was here. He simply shrugged to himself. Hi, can I talk to Hinata? The older man looked him over for a moment, thankfully without the Byakugan. As he led Naruto inside as he led him towards a garden, where Hinata was going through a specific set of katas, with a younger girl as the target. Hinata noticed him the moment he came, as she quickly incapacitated the younger girl. Hanabi cried out by the dirty trick, but she also noticed the newcomer. As Hinata walked over with a small smile, "Hello Naruto," she said, as she waved in greeting as well. Hey Hinata, I was wondering if I could get your help. She raised her eyebrow at that, but she nodded. My first fight in the finals is with Neji, so I thought you might be the best person to come to advice for regarding his style. As her smile diminished a bit, yes, I suppose you're right, however, without an extremely intensive course in our style, which I wouldn't be able to give you anyway. I'm not sure how I can help you, she said. Naruto frowned at that. He never expected her to teach him the style, but he just wants some help. I don't know. Is there a way to block the strikes, Naruto asked. Hinata giggled a bit. Naruto, you're asking me to give away my family's style and his secrets. He rubbed the back of his head and laughed nervously. When she said it that way, it did sound rather stupid. Oh, right. And she laughed some more. Sorry, but I can't help you, Naruto. As much as I want to see Neji beaten in the finals, she smirked at the thought. But I'm sure that you will beat him anyway. As Naruto nodded, as he paused, remember something that has been nagging his head for a while. Oh yeah, what was all that crap he was spouting when he beat you? Isn't he your family? As her smile vanished at that. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to say something rude, said Naruto. As he could tell that the subject was troubling her, so he decided to drop it. Oh, never mind, I'll just go. See you around, Hinata, he said. She did not answer him, so he hurriedly made his way through the compound. As he left, boy, that was weird. You're telling me? Naruto jumped. I told you to stop surprising me like that. As a Kyuubi chuckled in his head. Oh well. Well, I'm just here to tell you that I can unseal your points if the Hyugas manage to seal him with those magical finger of his. What are you talking about, said Naruto. He heard a sigh in his head. Every time the Kyuubi sighed, she thought that he was being an idiot. Not every time, anyways. I can force my chakra through your points to reopen them. I can only do that once though. So, after that, it's up to you. He gave her a mental nod, as he didn't say anything. After all, it would look rather weird talking to himself. As he was moving, he saw Taewai going on the street with a blonde-haired girl. That made him smile. It was good that she was making friends. Meanwhile, why won't you leave me alone? Taewai asked, as she was getting fed up with this girl. Because you haven't told me everything yet. In truth, Taewai hasn't told Ino much. But the girl just kept on digging and digging. And judging from her pissed off reaction, she just came up with scenarios. As she then thought about something. Before she ran off. As Ino started to run behind her, she would just run away from her. Meanwhile, Naruto flexed his arms. His muscles were quite tense. A good soak in the hot spring here. Well, that could start it out. So 10 minutes later, as he was emerging, with a towel wrapped around his waist, as he saw the steamy hot water in front of him. Yeah, this was a good idea. As he sank down in the water with a smile on his face. He then started to hear giggling. He chose to ignore it at first, but then it just kept on going. And then it kept on going. And then it didn't stop. As he pulled himself out of the water and wrapped the towel around his waist as he made his way towards the irritating giggling. As Naruto's eyebrows started to twitch as he saw an old white-haired man peeping through a hole in the wall and writing something down in a notebook. As Naruto realized that this was the pathway between the male and female side. He had saw Taewai and the blonde girl heading this way. That is why he came up with the idea after flexing his arm. As embarrassment turned into anger. Hey you perv! Get away from there, said Naruto. The man froze as he slowly turned, thinking that it was a woman ready to kick him across the village. Well, it was just paranoia, after all. A woman wouldn't be on this side, and the voice was more masculine. As he turned to see a 14-year-old kid, blonde spiky hair, blue eyes, that looked like, hey, I told you to stop peeping, you pervert, said Naruto. As the man then picked himself up, he was rather large for his size, as Naruto could tell that it was not fat, it was muscle. As Naruto took a good look at the man's face, he recognized him instantly. After all, he was the author of his favorite series. Hey, you're Jiraiya of the Sannin. The man beamed in happiness as he was happy to be recognized. Yeah, I recognize you from the author's shot at the end of the book. Jiraiya's eyes grew wider as it was one of his fans. Well, I figure a guy that writes books like that would be a super pervert. Before Naruto could even realize what was happening, he found himself enveloping a large, bone-crushing hug. I found him. I have found the person that truly understands me. As Jiraiya pulled back, tears in his eyes, pure happiness brimming on his face. As Naruto started to wiggle out of his grip, but the man felt like he was made from steel. God, get off me, you old perv, said Naruto. Jiraiya moved back as he saw people were starting to look, but he was still beaming. Kid, you're 1 in a million, he said. Maybe I should make you my student. No, better you're my apprentice. No, wait. Better, my protege. Naruto started to back away. Hey, wait. You are Jiraiya of the Sannin, right? That's right, kid. You have the privilege of looking at the one and only Toad Sannin, Jiraiya. Right, said Naruto. So you know Orochimaru, right? Jiraiya's tone shifted as Naruto was surprised, as the man became a bit more professional and serious. Why, are you asking about my former teammate? As Naruto heard the way the man said former, but he decided just go on same way. He killed Gaara's father. I want to put a kunai between his shoulder blades. As Jiraiya looked at Naruto as he sized him up, before he simply shrugged. Join the ever-increasing club, he said. So, you have no idea where he is? Naruto asked. Jiraiya shook his head no as Naruto grumbled a bit, as he thought hot springs were supposed to be relaxing, but he was just pissed off right now. Now that Jiraiya had no more usefulness for him. Oh well then, as he started to turn. Hey, wake up, brat, said Jiraiya. As Naruto chose to ignore him. Worst of all, he was calling him a brat. But Jiraiya simply went around as he stood in front of Naruto. I said wake up, he said. As Naruto looked at him. Yeah, I heard you. But if you can't train me, you have no real interest. Jiraiya's eyes grew wide. Uncomfortably wide as Naruto stepped back. Are you kidding, kid? I am the legendary Toad Sannin. Have you forgotten? I've been and fought in all 5 hidden villages. I have faced enemies that would make you cower in fear. Well, that doesn't make you a good teacher, said Naruto. Yeah, well, I can teach you a thing or two, he said, as he walked towards the water, as he walked on top of it. See, how that is... Sorry, you were saying something? Jiraiya was cut off as he turned, a bit agitated, but he was surprised. As Naruto was standing underwater, but he was standing on top of a kunai that was pointing down, the tip perfectly balanced. As Naruto yawned, well, it seems like you have chakra control exercises down, said Jiraiya. Like I said, if you aren't going to teach me anything, as he hopped off the kunai onto the stone floor, as he made his way towards the changing rooms. He was fully dressed and on his way out by the time Jiraiya snapped out of his trance and caught up. Well, kid, you mentioned a Gaara before. That wouldn't happen to be Gaara, the son of the late Kazekage, would it? As Naruto raised an eyebrow, I asked, because you seem to know so much about me, and yet I know so little about you, said Jiraiya. As Naruto stopped walking in the middle of the street, as he turned to look at Jiraiya. Really? Then I guess all that stuff I read on your vast spine network was over-exaggerating then. As he smirked and continued to walk. Maybe you're right, Naruto. Naruto simply smirked, knowing that Jiraiya was baiting him. After all, he never told him his name. You know, I am almost flattered whoever your parents were. They named you after the main character in my story. Whoever my parents were, said Naruto. As he had hitched a bit, but he quickly covered up. Seems there's another hole in your network, he said as he continued to walk, with Jiraiya following him step by step. So kid, where are you going? You meeting up with a lady friend perchance? Asked Jiraiya. As Naruto did not answer, but Jiraiya's smile only increased as he seemed to get lost in some sick fantasy that he was conjuring up. Naruto really hoped that didn't involve him. After about 30 minutes of walking as Jiraiya was still in his perverted fantasy, as Naruto slipped inside the Inuzuka compound and Jiraiya just kept on walking, as he made his way to find Hana, he wanted to ask her something, even though he knew that it was going to be rather embarrassing. Meanwhile, at the moment, Teiwaya was hunkering down in a dark alleyway, her arms wrapped around herself as she had to keep herself from shaking. It couldn't be human. No, nothing could follow so fast and break all those genjutsus. As she stood there, her skin started to put on edge as she felt like the thing was coming after her. As she had run on the rooftop, the thing following her. Luckily, she created a shadow clone and it headed off. As she sighed in relief, at least that should take care of her problem for the foreseeable future. When she saw Naruto later on, she would have to thank him for teaching her that jutsu. As she stood up and brushed herself off, as she turned and walked out of the alley to freeze, the thing found her. Ino smiled. Oh, there you are, Teiwaya, she said. Meanwhile, Naruto heard the scream echo through the village, and it sounded rather familiar. But at the moment he didn't really care, as his face was red like a tomato. Everything that Hana told him rushed through his mind. So did the visual aids that she used in horrific detail. He really wished that he had just ignored his own curiosity and take his secrets to the grave. As he flopped down on the bed, Teiwaya wasn't here. Well, that was better for the good. Sleeping with his female friend now was completely different. Seeing that Hana had just revealed something shocking to him. The entire afternoon had been exhausted mentally, as he just lay and let sleep took him. Time skip. Naruto woke up with a sigh as Teiwaya wasn't there, as she's been getting up early to avoid him, as he knew it had to do with that kiss on the monument. As he wanted to talk to her about it, but her scent was lost within the hive of Konoha with so many people around. As he released another long sigh, he was stuck, seeing that his plan with Hinata did not work out, so all he has to do now was just train his original skills. Then again, Jiraiya was really a Sanin. It wouldn't hurt to get one or two technique from the man, would it? He merely shrugged. He had no idea where Jiraiya was, so that was a lost cause. As he went to take a shower, he would just go find Gaara, sparring with his friend, always cheer him up. Now he was thinking that he was overreacting what Hana had told him, as she told him that it was perfectly natural between a male and a female, so probably he kind of blew things out of proportion. As Naruto smelled Gaara, as he quickly made his way, as he saw who Gaara was walking with, he settled into a brisk walk with his friends, as Teiwaya was on Gaara's left and Naruto was on Gaara's right. Hey Gaara, Teiwaya, he said. Gaara nodded, while Teiwaya grunted something. Awkward silence settled over the three, until surprisingly it was Gaara that broke the ice. So Naruto, have you found any way to combat the Hyuga style? Naruto hung his head a bit. No, I can't find anyone to teach me about it. Teiwaya scoffed from where she was. Idiot, it's not like they're just gonna teach you all their weaknesses. Yeah, that was basically what Hinata told him. But he was happy that she wasn't avoiding him, seeing that she actually spoke to him. That he was happy for. So what are you gonna do, Gara asks. You know me. I'll just wing it, said Naruto. Teiwei scoffed, but she decided to keep her opinion to herself. So, Gara, want to spar? I'm afraid I can't. I have my own training to do. And we will have plenty of time for that in the finals. Naruto nodded, even though it might have made him seem cocky that he would beat through everyone and reach the last fight. We could spar, said Teiwei. As Naruto looked at her in shock, she seemed shocked herself for saying that, but he wasn't about to let her back out of it. Great, he said, as he grabbed her arm and threw her on his back, a makeshift piggyback as he was gone. As Gara watched the wind blow, Gara smirked, knowing what Teiwei's reaction would be when they came to a stop, as he made sure no one was around to see that speed departure, as he made his way off as well to a training ground to test out something. Meanwhile, as Teiwei fixed her hair, it was all messed up from just being jumped like that. You know I hate it when you do that, shithead. Well, but you also say that you fight better when you're mad, he told her. She was about to retort, but she had no comeback against that. So she pulled out her flute as she started to play. Come on, Teiwei, you know that genjutsus don't affect me in combat. Oh, who said anything about genjutsu, she said. As she started to play. To any normal people, you could barely hear anything. But to Naruto with his sensitive earring, he dropped to the ground and started holding on to his ears. She kept it up for a full 30 seconds of torturing, as she didn't finally release. He got to his feet as he rubbed his ear. That wasn't funny, Teiwei. She smiled, genuine smile despite his rather heated gaze. I beg to differ, shithead. That made him smile, as he had missed this interaction the past few days, although he could have done without the headache. Fine. Are we gonna fight properly now? Teiwei simply looked amused as she folded her arms under her chest. Naruto's eyes started to lower themselves, as he had to forcefully keep them up. What are you talking about? I won. That's it. That's hardly a fight, Teiwei, he said. She looked at her nails, completely ignoring him. Yeah, well, next time come at me with a bit more challenge. When she looked up though, he was gone. As she looked around, she then felt something slam into her from behind, knocking her to the ground as Naruto held onto her arm, spinning her down. Okay, how is this then, Teiwei-chan, he said. She glared at him for the nickname, as she tried to get free, but he was stronger than her, and his grip would not budge, as he eventually got up and offered his hand. As she picked herself up, she tried to kick him in his very special area. After a while, she calmed herself down though. Fair enough, shithead. I guess you won today, as he started to laugh. As she wondered why the hell she has been avoiding him, suddenly, the light from the trees caught him, and his entire demeanor was lighting up. As she saw, she looked down, her cheeks becoming red. As Naruto sensed a sudden shift in her behavior, he didn't want her to avoid him again, so he decided to find the root in the problem. Hey, Teiwei, these last couple of days, Naruto, my protege! As Naruto was cut off by Jiraiya, who suddenly arrived. Who the hell are you, Teiwei said, as she slipped in a curse word. Jiraiya took notice as he vanished, as he quickly appeared between the two. Ah, such foul language from such a beautiful young woman. As she blushed at the compliment before her eyes turned murderous. He ducked under her blow as he stepped back. What the hell you just said to me, you pedophile, she asked. As Jiraiya took a few more steps back, as he looked towards Naruto. I see you keep interesting friends, my young apprentice. Stop calling me that, and I'm not your protege, said Naruto. As Jiraiya looked hurt. Is that any way to treat your sensei? Asked Jiraiya. You're not my sensei either, said Naruto. What? After everything I've taught you, said Jiraiya. As Naruto wondered if this guy was crazy or something. And what in the hell did you taught me? What else? The brilliant art of love through my brilliant and priceless novels. As Teiwei's eyebrow twitched. You're the pervert that wrote Makeout Paradise? She pulled out the book. As Jiraiya's eyes went wide. Another one of his fans. Another one of my loyal readers. This one's a keeper, boy. Never let her go, said Jiraiya as he looked towards Naruto. Figures, said Teiwei as she was about to put it back, but he grabbed it from her and signed it as he gave it back to her. She took it cautiously, because he took the book from her so fast. She barely saw him move. As Naruto turned to try and sneak away, oh shithead, he paused. Who is this guy? He's Jiraiya, one of the... Jiraiya cut him off. I'm Jiraiya, one of the legendary Sanins, better known as a Toad Sage, breaker of hearts, and winner of women. Author, extravagantic, handsome, and a devilish looker if I do say so myself. Because no one else would say that, said Teiwaya. As Naruto started to laugh. As Jiraiya was still in his rant. Hey, let's go. As the both of them quickly ran off. As Jiraiya looked around, he was alone. Oh, so the two lovebirds want some privacy, he said. As he giggled to himself and made his way off. Teiwaya and Naruto found themselves in a different training ground. As she was panting a bit, she alone. Sometimes his unending stamina, sometimes piss her off. Well, she was grateful for it because he saved her ass a lot of time in missions. Not that she would say that she would need him. For a Sanin, he sure is a sucker. Yeah, a massive pervert as well. Do you know how I met him? As Naruto started to laugh a bit, before his cheeks became a bit red, as he told her, that old bastard, next time I see him, I'm gonna rip his nuts off. See if he has something to gawk about. He knew that she wouldn't follow out on her threat, after all, Jiraiya was a Sanin for a reason, but he kept that thought to himself. As she was smiling at ripping off Jiraiya nuts, sometimes she could act rather crazy. Hey Teiwaya. She turned her head. I'm sorry. She looked at him confused, trying to find out what he was talking about, so he clarified. Sorry about what I did to make you avoid me all this time. She looked at him in shock. He think he did something wrong? You moron. As she punched him in the shoulder slightly. You didn't do anything, she said. He looked at her confused. It doesn't matter, let's just forget it, okay, she said. He quickly nodded as he pulled her into a brief, warm hug. Despite everything looking like it returned back to normal, the both of them know that things have changed. Small changes would soon turn out to be, rather, large changes. Time skip. As Naruto looked around in wonder and awe, as there was so much people. The stadium was massive and the thing was packed from head to toe. The arena was plain though, impressive size, but few trees and grass. But they could at least put a stream inside. Not everyone could pull water from the ear like Sekuno Kage. The massive open ears would suit his fighting style well, but he could also say the same thing about the boys standing across from him. As Naruto knew that he had a jutsu to finish this in no time, within a couple of seconds, but it would be extremely overkill to use that jutsu now. He shrugged. If it really pushed him that far, he would just use that jutsu anyway. As Naruto weighed up his opponent, he had plenty of time to train over the month-long period, as everyone had used them to their fullest. He cursed the Hyuga fighting style, not to mention he was a close combat fighter, but the Hyugas were known for their vicious attacks when you got in close. But he already made a plan for that and he was ready. Well, he still didn't really like it at all. As he looked up to where the Hokage was as he smiled, but he then looked towards the unoccupied seat to his left. As he thought about Gaara, father, and his murderer, as his fists clenched, he calmed himself, thinking about something else. Teiwaya had helped him a lot in his training. As he was broken out of his thoughts when the proctor told him to begin, as the Hyuga wasted no time as he rushed towards him, as Naruto quickly leaped away, as he was under no illusion here what they wanted for the Chunin exams for the promotion. They wanted to see what they were made of. Even if they didn't win, they can still be promoted. That was what the old man said. As the Hyuga came in close and Naruto started to dodge, he felt one of the blows graze his arm as he moved back. There was a red spot where one of his points had been closed. He didn't even feel the thing. So that was another problem. As the Hyuga came rushing at him as Naruto kept on dodging. Good thing he was faster, well so he thought. As Neji twists and started to strike once again. As it was sudden and fast, as Naruto felt more of his chakra being sealed off. The violent attack made him slump down towards his knees. If he hadn't known about this, he would have probably been scared right now. As the Kyuubi chakra opened back its chakra points, it was only enough to do that. After all, he didn't really want to give off too much to alert all of the Konoha shinobis by the strange chakra. As Naruto stood up with a smirk, Neji was confused as he couldn't understand. How was he even standing? He should be having difficulty breathing right now, but yet he was standing. What was going on? As Naruto used a chance to rush in as he landed a solid blow into Neji's stomach, as that snapped him from his stupor, as he started to attack once again. As Naruto dodged each and everything that Neji threw at him, he figured that was enough time for him to get a decent score in taijutsu, where the judges lie. As he then jumped back, as Naruto quickly flipped through hand sign, Wind style. Rotating side jutsu. He tilted to the side like he was about to fall over as he started to spin his arm like a windmill. Neji thought that he messed up the jutsu as he shot forward to end this while he was confused and preoccupied. Naruto smirked as his fingertips became white, perfect, sharp ear at the tip of them. As he fired them, Neji dodged. Everyone gasped when he tore into the wall, the solid stone wall. Naruto wasn't done yet though as he fired off another one as Neji twists as it grazed his elbow. As Naruto kept this up firing one after another, Neji became overwhelmed. Rotation, he said as he had to. Neji smirked as he saw the blade coming right towards him as he was ready for it to dissipate on his rotation, but to his surprise it went through it, just losing some of its power. He was sliced across the chest as he came to a stop. The only thing that saved him was the pressure that was taking off the attack by its rotation. As Naruto stopped, that technique always left him a bit dizzy, as he wondered how Neji was able to spin like that without looking dizzy at all. As Neji's shirt started to get red, the wound was not life-threatening, but if the fight continued this way, it would be in Naruto's favor rather quickly. Naruto raised one hand as 4 clones poofed into existence, as he hoped that would get him some more points from the judges. A one-handed clone seal, as all of them rushed towards Neji. Neji was confused, his Byakugan could not tell which one was the real one, as the first one swung at him as he ducked. He felt the ear twist as the second one brought down his foot. He had heard about clones made into solid, but without nothing. So he treated each and every one of them as a threat as he parry and dodge and strike. He didn't know why, but he could tell that the clones were holding back. What was going on? As he attacked one of them, moving in for a strike to the chest. As he slammed his hand into it, it poofed into smoke as he coughed. He then turned as the other 3 simply poofed away. Why were they holding back if they were just clones? And was he trying to use a smoke bomb on him? Didn't he know that he had Byakugan? That was rather a The ground broke open as Naruto's fist smashed into Neji's chin and launched him. He smashed against the wall as he peeled off of it, dropping face first. Naruto made his way over to see if he was really out or if he was faking it. As he checked him over, he was really out. He motioned for the proctor. The crowd was completely silent. Did that just really happen? They then burst into cheers as he heard some of them though, as they tore up their tickets, as most of them had bet on the Hyuga. He was a prodigy Hyuga, how was that even possible? The blonde kid didn't even try. As Naruto sun shone out of the arena, as he made his way into the box. Meanwhile, whoa, I can't believe it. Your teammate defeated Neji. Teiwaya tried to shrink away as Ino sat down, followed by her pink-haired friend. He was Rookie of the Year last year. Everyone thought that he was going to win. Teiwaya smirked, and Naruto wasn't even going all out. And not to mention, if by some surprising chance that Naruto had lost, Gaara would have wiped the floor with Neji. Well, it doesn't matter, Ino Big. Sasuke is gonna win this. As Teiwaya tried to inch away from them as they were arguing. I don't know, Forehead. That Naruto guy looked pretty strong. Teiwaya chuckled at nickname as she now noticed the pink hair, large forehead, as she then caught the attention of the pink hair one. Damn it, she cursed. Hey, why don't you have anything on your forehead protector? Aren't you from the Hidden Sand village? Teiwaya groaned. She decided to just ignore them for now. Probably they will take the hint and leave her the hell alone. Shut up, Forehead. She's probably worried about her boyfriend. As Teiwaya really wished that she could go in the contest and boot, but she wasn't allowed. She had to calm herself. Must not kill Konoha Kunoichi. Must not kill Konoha Kunoichi. Must not kill them. Meanwhile, as Naruto appeared in the box, Gaara was looking at Shino, and Shino was looking at Gaara. Their unwavering gaze just looking at each other. As Naruto watched him for a few seconds, before he coughed in his arm. As Shino turned towards him, "You're next," said Naruto. Shino nodded as he disappeared in a swarm of bugs. As Naruto looked at Gaara, before he turned back to the arena, as those two also made his way down. I like him. Naruto smirked at his friend's comment, as he focused down below. I said I forfeit. As Shino looked slightly annoyed for a moment. Well, if you could go off his eyebrows crinkling for a second there. Are you sure about that? Hayate asked. If you forfeit, you will not be able to re-enter. Yeah, you heard me. I'm not gonna fight the bug freak who took out Zaku that way. Well, okay then, those two has forfeited. With the next competitors, please make your way down to the arena. As Naruto turned, Shikamaru picked himself up off the ground. He looked down on the ground. Man, what a drag. Lee appeared behind him. Come my youthful opponent, as Lee patted Shikamaru in the back way too hard as he fell over face first. Right in the arena, Lee had simply run down the wall with tremendous speed as he was now bouncing on his feet in the center, ready to go. Shikamaru grumbled once again as he made his way to where Lee and Hayate was. As Shikamaru came up with the same scenario, despite trying to run through many ways of how this fight would go on, and it didn't look good for him at all. He sighed as he leaned his head back and started to watch the clouds. As Hayate told him to begin, he then turned back as he jumped as Lee came at him. Lee was fast. He went into his family stance. Shadow position jutsu, he said. As Lee leaped away, far out of Shikamaru's range, as he saw this before and he knew not to get too close to it. This left him at an impasse as Lee was a fighting type, and Shikamaru could not get out of the wall shadow effect area. Lee realized he would just have to be faster than Shadow as he shot forward with tremendous speed. As he ducked and twisted and turned, trying to confuse Shikamaru. But Shikamaru didn't move his shadow at all. As Lee was gaining ground, suddenly the thing moved faster than Lee thought and he was stuck. Shikamaru then reached down as Lee followed the action, but he had no pouch. Shikamaru then pulled out some shurikens. As he looked towards Lee, he then looked towards the leg warmers. He was just going to disable him, not really hurt him that much, as he tossed him. But clang! To his surprise, the shurikens bounced off his leg warmers, as the leg warmers were torn by the shuriken when they were bounced off, as they were ripped, showing weights that were also cut at the tip, so they slid off as they made a sizable crater, despite Lee standing right there. What the hell was that guy wearing? Lee then took one step forward with a smirk on his face. The Nara members were surprised. Shikamaru refused that this was real, as he started sweat to hold Lee as Lee was stepping forward. He did not foresee this at all. Lee was sweating as he stepped. He was pushing himself, as Shikamaru saw only one option. As Lee got closer, he pulled his head back, and so did Lee mimic the action. They smashed their head together as the both of them fell down. As Hayate came over to see if either of them made it through, Lee hopped back to his feet. As he slipped into his stance, he was unconscious, so was Shikamaru, but yet Lee was standing up. He was mumbling something, seeming to be in a knocked out state. It was a double knockout, but Lee was still standing, ready to fight. Hayate pulled a shuriken as he tossed it, not to hit him but to pass him, but Lee reached out and caught it. He was aware. He announced Lee the winner. A sensei came down and took the both of them away, as the crowd was deadly quiet. After the match came to an end, Naruto noticed the crowd steering towards the box. Gaara slowly made his way down, as Naruto realized that Uchiha wasn't here. As Gaara stood, waiting. 2 minutes passed, then 5. People started to mumble and worry what was going on. Hey, where's Duckbutt? Said Teiwaya. Ino and Sakura turned towards her. What do you mean, Duckbutt? Sakura asked. You know, Sasuke, said Teiwaya. Don't call Sasuke-kun that. Teiwaya placed her hand on her chest with a mock apology look. Oh, I'm sorry I insulted your precious Sasuke-kun, she said, in a very unsincere voice. I guess I would be pretty scared if I had to fight Gaara as well. Sasuke would easily beat that guy with the sand. You'll see, said Sakura as Ino nodded, as they knew that Sasuke was the best. After 10 minutes, the Hokage was going to call it, but Kakashi and Sasuke arrived in a flashy Shanshin. As Kakashi rubbed back of his head in apology after a brief talk with Hayate, as he was allowed to fight. As Sasuke looked at Gaara, Gaara added insult to injury when he simply sit down. As Sasuke, eyebrow twitched. He had seen his sand defense, but to sit down in the match, Gaara looked at the ground with disinterest. Hayate began the match and Gaara simply sit there. As San just came up and blocked everything that Sasuke threw, no matter what. Gaara could have just sit there and made him tire himself out. As it was, he was a bit annoyed that Sasuke showed up late to the match, even if he didn't show it. Gaara used to remain San to create a spear around him. As Sasuke attacked, as he had to move back as spikes came out of the dome. The sand started to pull the minerals out of the ground, and the dome was getting larger and larger. As Sasuke started to get desperate, as he saw what Gaara was doing. If he stood here, he was going to get pressed up against a wall. If he landed on top of it, it will stab his feet. And if he fled, he was going to forfeit. Damn it, he never wanted to use it so early. As he leaped up onto the wall, he went through hand sign as lightning started to crackle on his hand. He rushed forward. Shidori! As he approached the dome, he leaped up in the air. And he spun, just like Kiba, as he brought the Shidori down. The drill-like attack worked as he broke through the sand, as he landed inside the dome. But that smile quickly vanished when he realized there was no one in there. The hole then shut as the dome started to come back together and trapping him inside. There wasn't enough room for him to do anything as he was stuck into a tight ball. As it didn't crush him or anything, just hold him there perfectly still. Everyone couldn't believe it. As Hayate announced Gaara the winner as he dropped the sand, Sasuke fell down. As Gaara made his way, unconcerned. As Naruto patted him on the back, congratulating him. He didn't have long though as he had to fight Shino. As he looked at the boy, who nodded. But guys, to be in subscribe right here, if you want the next part to do, like, subscribe, comment down below and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. But I'm off now, see you guys soon, peace.